Now go on with the rest of that.
In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broid hair, or gold, or pearls, or costly array, but which becometh women professing godliness with good works. Let the women learn in silence with all subjection, but I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence, for Adam was first formed, then Eve. Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing. They continue in faith and charity and holiness with sobriety.
There's a lot of things said in there and a lot of things people don't want to talk about. But the fact of the matter is, I believe that all of that was around the fact that it said that it was not Adam that was deceived, but Eve. The reason Eve was deceived was because of temptation. All those things he categorized, and by the way, the list could go on beyond that. All those things were mentioned because of deception. Deception is the outcome of falling prey to temptation. Eve looked at and was tempted by what the enemy had said, hey, it don't really matter. There's a whole lot of people around the church are falling prey to stuff even in the professed church world today because it don't really matter. I know what I've heard all of my life. I know what they've been teaching. I know what them preachers been telling us. But the bottom line is, I don't think so. Listen to me. Don't let the tempter deceive you. God did not and will not and has not directed us to know and have insight and light and truth to think that his words are not true. And all those things, whether he listed them where men or women, listen to me, they are important. And to fall prey to them means you have let the tempter deceive you. You all okay with this? You say, well, no, I ain't, but I can't help it. I'm going to preach it to you anyway. Because the enemy of your soul is going to drive every day in his way to tempt you, to allow yourself to be deceived and fall prey and bring you under his subjection and his control. And you think you're getting your way, but you're not. You're following the devil's way. And by the way, I've learned over the years that if my way isn't the way of the Lord, it's the wrong way. You see, that way of escape was Jesus, and where to go and keep him before us. Well, one other thing. That verse got a lot of stuff in it, and I probably could preach another whole message on some of the other thoughts in it, but the other thing I wanted us to see was that we are also, they're able to see some promises of deliverance when he said the words, able to bear it. Temptation is going to come. Yep. Tomorrow or someday in your life, many of the things that you have come aware of that is light and truth, been preached, declared over the years, the tempter is going to come to you and try to say, well, you know, that really don't make any difference. It really don't make any difference. That's what he does. You know, how you say, how do you know, preacher? Because he tells me the same thing. But I've learned this lesson, church. I need always to make sure that I follow the way of the Lord so that when I am dealing with it, I can find that I am able to bear even this enemy's attack on my life. You're going to have to deal with it. But he said, able. I love that phrase at the end. You know, I wish that maybe there was a way to say that it would all go away, but the fact of the matter is we're going to have to bear some things. You're going to have to bear temptation. See, how do you bear all that? You commit yourself repeatedly, every day, consistently to the Lord, and when the tempter comes, you make sure that you keep yourself close to him because he's faithful. He's going to help you. And you don't have to fall prey. I've had, as a pastor, I've heard over and over in my life and had to deal with the down through the years that has a tendency to fall prey to the same thing about every week. I've had people come to me, Pastor, could you help me? Could you encourage me? Could you tell me how can I get victory over this? And I give them the answer. And they go back out and do the exact same thing, come back and ask me the same question again. And they ask me the same question again, over and over and over. Listen to me. Take the answer and apply it and quit just letting the enemy bring you down and cause you to fall. You're able to bear that. Not of yourself. I got that. Not of yourself. You can't do this by yourself. You need this way of escape, Jesus, deeply in your life, so you can be able to endure as a good soldier of the cross and be able to fight a good fight in this battle. See, deliverance is able to be had. You see, deliverance is found in the grace of God. Praise God for it. It's contained in grace of God and the faith of God and trusting the Lord and keeping Jesus close. Enduring the things of life. You know, I was thinking about some of those stories in the Bible that we marvel at. I marvel at some of those Old Testament stories. I've marveled at one that many times has caught my attention. I was thinking about the time that Daniel, not this one back here, Daniel endured a den of lions. By the way, probably don't mean a whole lot to a lot of people, but it wasn't a lion's den, it was a den of lions. They had made this thing, put them lions in there. David endured and was delivered from a den of lions. But did you notice that he was put in there and he had to go through it? He had to endure that? Sometimes we are in situations where the enemy is given the liberty to be able to tempt us, and we got to endure that. But he came out victorious. Why? Because he knew the way of escape. He kept himself close to God. He remembered that the God that he served was faithful and didn't leave him. I got a feeling that in that den of lions, when he was all gathered in there and he was sitting, I don't know whether he was sitting or standing or laying down, whatever, I don't know. And those lions would, even if they decided they wanted to come over and try to get a bite, I believe God would just lock them because God was right there with him. Why? Why? Because, and that's a picture, that's some of that testimony of what we have to sometimes endure. This tempter is going to come, church. So we got to endure as good soldiers of the cross. So I think about Daniel and all that was going on. He had to go through that. When I went on and this is a marvelous story. Let me tell you, I marveled at those three Hebrew boys. You remember their names? You call them Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Their name was Hananiah, Azariah, and Mishael. And they were thrown in a fiery furnace that was heated 7 times. Is that right? Hotter than ever was. Now, I'm just simple-minded enough to believe that actually happened. Praise God for a simple mind. I got that word, so I'm sorry, dear. But it's a discussion between her and I. Because I'm not supposed to call myself simple-minded. But I got a pretty simple thinking mind when it comes down to it. But I got enough this testimony about it. I believe clearly that those three Hebrew boys was actually thrown into a furnace of fire. And you and I know that there's no way in the natural world that could ever happen. But because they had confidence in a God that was faithful, because they had a God that was willing to be able to make sure that they were honored because of